What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new episode. Coach Joe here with Heartletics.com, and this one is definitely different, we'll say the least. We weren't even going to have this episode recorded, but nonetheless, Santo's here. And this is one of our live coaching calls where, anybody that's a Heartletics member can hop in and we just talk. We kind of just ask questions. And I figured, it would be really good to help anybody that's just kind of struggling with motivation. At the end of the day, me and Santo are going to be going back and forth here a little bit about his story. Santo, I've been coaching you for what, 2 years now?
2 years, yep, since October 2020.
Yeah, and we're going to give you guys the inside scoop of the whole entire background, how we got situated, conversated, but to most importantly, where we are currently right now with this health and fitness journey. And this has everything to do with motivation, guys. So if you're somebody that's struggling to feel motivated, where it's like, hey, you should be, eating protein, drinking, plenty of water, getting your steps in, but deep down inside, you just losing the steam, stuck in a rut. This is going to be a great episode for you guys. Santo, let's give them the flashback, man. Obviously, right, you saw my Facebook ad, you downloaded, the free guide, and you randomly got a text message from Coach Joe. What was your initial, reaction or thoughts as me and you were texting back and forth?
Well, my initial reaction was, are you real? Because I figured you were just some random robot generated, thing. And yeah. I think I replied, are you real? And you sent me a photo of yourself, with the guns out in your kitchen. So I was like, all right, sure, I'll talk to this guy.
Yeah.
So that's the artist from there.
Yep. And then we just started conversating back and forth, just like with anybody, right? It's just like, okay, you downloaded my fat loss guide. Obviously, you're maybe looking to burn some body fat. How can I be of the service? How can I help you out? And me and you started texting a little bit, back and forth. And it came to a time where we just thought it'd be best to just hop on a quick call. And sure enough, man, it was love at first sight, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you completed your 12-week transformation program, right? You completed the mindset coaching phases. And since then, right, 2 years ago, the entire coaching program has been changed, transformed so much, right? We're always collecting feedback from the people that complete our programs on how to improve on it and make it a lot better. And Santo, let's fast forward to where we are currently right now. Today's day one for you. You've been on this program for the past 2 years, and today's day one for you. Yep. Why don't you share with, anybody that's listening in, but then also some of the members here that's, watching this currently and tuning in live right now. Tell us a little bit about what's been going on and why all of a sudden me and you came to agreement to, hey, it might be best to start you all over with coaching from day one today.
Well, I'd been through the actual transformation program twice, right? So back in October of 2020, and then I think I went through it again mid 21, I think, if I remember right, June-ish maybe. And I learned a lot, obviously. I was doing okay. The physical stuff I could do, working out, picking things up, putting them down. I love to do that. So I'm good at that, right? Yeah. But it got to a point recently where I lost my focus. And it's like the mind side of things, the mindset side of things is I'm struggling, and it's like bothering me. So that's why I reached out to you. I was like, I can do the physical stuff, but my mindset is holding me back, and I know it, and it's bothering me. So I can't. I know if I don't fix that, I'm not going to go any further. Right? It's not going to get any better. So
yeah, and so Santo, he actually said this on one of his check-ins, right? And and I love this, right? And Santo, just know, I love feedback, right? Mike, you told me about how my program overview video sucked and how I had no energy at all. And guess what, Mike? Did I not?
You re-recorded
the next within an hour? Re-recorded it, sent it out to you, right? Blew you a kiss and everything, right? So,
right.
Yeah. So, Santo, I love the feedback, right? So what happened, guys, Santo said in his check-in form at the end of the week, because normally Coach Brian does his check-ins, right? And so I got his check-in because Coach Brian was on vacation. And I don't think Santo, did you know I was doing check-ins?
I did not.
Yeah.
No.
So he kind of dogged me, plain and simple. He kind of said like, this program is great. I love the feedback from everybody, but I don't really see Joe too much, right? Like I don't really hear from him. And I told Santa, right? I'll be honest with you guys as well, right? And anybody that's tuning in, like it's hey, where we see the vision of Heartletics growing, it's hard to be everywhere at once. That's why I need to learn how to become a better leader and delegate. So that's why Coach Brian does the check-ins, and Katrina does the meal plans, and Coach Mark does more of the one-on-one support, and Coach Jimmy with the qualification calls. And I realize here that when somebody does like, a role responsibility, instead of me doing like, everything all at once, that person can give a lot more value than I can, if that makes sense. Because my mind is focused on the meal plans, the check-ins, the data, what adjustments to make. So having obviously roles and responsibilities to, continue to scale the business, continue to coach and train people, I get it, right? I take full responsibility for that. And Santo, that's why I say thank you, because it makes me having to do a better job as like the overall head coach of still being in that individual's life, like in an impactful way. Would you say?
I would, yes.
So I told Santo everything. And then I told him like, hey man, you got two options, brother. I've been coaching you for 2 years, man. You can go find a new coach, right? Like I'm doing a horrible job coaching you. You can go find a new coach, or me and you can hop on a call, talk everything out. And Santo, you made the right decision. Here we are today, still coaching you. But why don't you share with everybody, right? Like about that call, because that had nothing to do. And I really want everybody to hear this out, right? When it comes to internal motivation stuck in a rut, this is not drink more water. This is not, hey, eat more protein. This is not just, pull through it, right, and complete your workouts. No, like this is deep rooted. And Santo, right, being a man, right, was open and honest. He was vulnerable on our call. He was letting me peel back the layers, right? And what happened? We uncovered the root of the problem. So Santo, why don't you share with everybody kind of like what's been going on, maybe recapping a little bit about that call, as much into detail as you choose to go into, just to kind of help somebody with, hey, what could happen if you're just open and honest and ask for help?
Well, to recap the call, I mean, I told you it was about my mindset, and it's not just, I don't know how to put this. It's like, it's not just my fitness side of things, right? My health and fitness. It was affecting everything, like my life at home, my work life. I was constantly angry to the point where my wife was picking up on it. My sons were picking up on it. I was frustrated. I was anxious. I was feeling overwhelmed, and I kept thinking, I get my workout in, but I got to do this too, and I got to do all this stuff. And it's just like it was weighing on me pretty heavily. So that's really what the call was about. It was more about that than it was, fitness side of things. Because let's face it, if your mental state is not there, nothing else is there either, right?
100%, I agree.
That's how that works, right? So, I'm picking it up now. Like I did my workout today. My body's sore, because I haven't worked out in a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. I did a little bit here and there, but when I'm not working out, my body starts hurting again, and that's where I'm at. And I hate this feeling. I hate being sore. I hate waking up sore. My back hurts, and my shoulders are sore. My neck, I can't turn my head. It's driving me crazy, right? I hate that feeling. So, but that's all part of it. If I don't get my mind right, I'm not going to get the rest of this right. You know what I mean? And that's really kind of what sparked it all. And I wasn't seeing. I missed you, man.
Hey, listen, my wife tells me that every day. I work too much. But I missed you too, brother. But would you say that the minute you were vulnerable and kind of opened yourself up, it was like the minute things started just changing almost in the right direction, where it was not stuck in a rut anymore? It almost seemed like somebody was like, there was a light at the end of the tunnel. Somebody was kind of holding out their hand for support.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. When we got off the call that day, it was was kind of like a breath of fresh air. Like everything's kind of got lighter, and it felt good. It was good to get it off. Yeah.
You actually told me right in the beginning of the call, you said, I know for a fact this is going to be the therapist coming out of you, not the nutritionist, not the personal trainer. This is going to be the therapist, Coach Joe. And
I did. Yes, I did.
I want everybody here, right? Like, understand this. Santo knows how to work out. Santo knows how to eat healthy. Santo knows how to get his sleep. Santo knows how to do all the right things with even working on his mindset. And here he is, right? Still struggling, still needing help. Guys, I'm here today to just preach to the choir, right? And talk about myself first and foremost. There's plenty of times I need help, right? I'll tell you how not to get help, though, and how not to progress and get out of the stuck in the rut is by thinking you know how to do it all, right? Because all you're going to do and go back and forth, and Santo, we talked about this, with your ego taking over. Right? Thinking you know the right steps, thinking you know what to do, thinking you know how to do it. And then what happens? You start seeing some good results, but then all of a sudden you feel like you're still stuck. Or it's that analysis paralysis, right? Of maybe I'm not doing the right thing, so I need to do this. And then I do that for a few times, right? Switch things up. Maybe I got to do this. And always constantly switching things up, except for actually sticking with, right? Being consistent with what's going to get you the results in the first place. So the first thing on how to get change, right, is one, being honest, like admitting to that. And hear me out, myself, Santo, it's okay. There's nothing non-manly about admitting that you need help, right? It's, once again, you're being open, you're being honest. And then that's how you get help in the first place. And then the second thing, Santo, would you say that it's putting together an action plan? Right? Of like, what can we do next to avoid this situation? What can we do next to kind of help you out of it, but also build up that momentum and build up the steam? And that's where we kind of talk about your breath work, meditation, right? Kind of like taking a step back and saying like, hey, is this really going to affect me? Like, maybe somebody said something and it triggered me, right? So where you mentioned about when somebody gives you a task and it makes you feel like you're out of your routine, it triggers something and you feel almost anxious. And then next thing you know, you feel angry. So would you say that, the next plan of action is setting up a game plan to kind of help you out with that, or help out anybody that's kind of stuck?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember. One of the things I said in the call was, I feel like I'm like a paper towel just kind of floating in the wind. And it's the weirdest feeling, because obviously I have you and I have the things to do, right? But having an action plan going forward is a huge step, because I wasn't doing, the mindset stuff. I felt weird with meditation. I've never done it before. You sent me over some videos to try and break through that weird thing. I used to do my gratitude stuff, journal, and quit doing it. So I know I got to get back onto that. Right. So yeah, absolutely. An action plan is really the only way to go. Otherwise, I'm going to be floating in space and kind of bouncing all over the place like a squirrel.
Yeah.
Because I'm, like, that's how I am. I'm on the squirrel. I'm like, I see a shell, I'm off to it. Yeah. So an action plan and know what I have to do is a huge step for me.
Absolutely, man. And if there was ever a day where I wish we had a better internet connection from your household, it would be today, brother, because we're about to dive in deep. So first off, right, let's admit that, like, yeah, we need to have an action plan. But I love what you said, man. You're just completely vulnerable, right? You said it again. I didn't know how to meditate. Right. I didn't know how to do this. I was kind of just going through it, in terms of just like going through the motions, but nothing actually sticking with me to where I can actually be consistent with it. But we need to backtrack before that action plan of like, hey, here's some different things that you should start focusing on to help you out through this. You mentioned, right? I was just kind of floating, right? As like a paper towel floating throughout the wind. And so what I want to do, right, is just understand how you may be feeling like that. And it might be because we're inside of our comfort zone. And I always say it like this is the root of where people, right, they start feeding their bad wolf, right? They start feeding the lies, the ego is inside their comfort zone. And when you feel almost like you're floating, I could be wrong, right? I'm just putting myself in your shoes. If I was feeling like I'm floating through, the wind as like a paper towel, it feels like there's no ambition. It feels like there's no purpose. It feels like there's no stride. Like, hey, I'm stuck. I'm in my comfort zone. I'm complacent. I'm compliance. I don't need to focus on this because there's no scarcity. There's no urgency. There's nothing here that I'm trying to avoid. We're comfortable, right? Life is great, but is it really when we're kind of stuck? So, I mean, tell us a little bit more about how you felt as being that paper towel floating, or is that kind of how it is?
Oh man, you want to go deep.
I want to go deep, man. I wish we had better internet service.
Yeah, that kind of is how it feels. My ambitions, I have all these great ideas of things I want to do, but my ambition doesn't take me all the way there. You know what I mean? I was losing my motivation. You said something else there. I forgot the word, but what you said, yeah, I mean, that's a lot how it felt. And it's weird. Like I've never really felt that way before.
So,
So
Santa, I think the reason why I could almost put words in your mouth is because I feel like that at times too. Right? Like
purpose.
Simple.
That's purpose. And there,
yeah, purpose. And I want to bring in
our times.
Yeah, I think we're disconnected a little bit in terms of times, but there might be a little bit of delay here. But I want to bring in real quick Brett, Mike, and Gabe, right? To kind of share also with maybe some tips, right? Because I could definitely give you all the value in the world, but I'm also going to be vulnerable with you, Santa, and let you know that there's times where I feel like that too. Even though I have this path, this mission, there's times where I feel like, man, it's so far out there. How can I achieve this goal, right? Like, I feel like I'm just kind of stuck, right? So I'll share with you real quick before Brett, Mike, and Gabe hop in here and give you some tips. The best thing that I have in my life to help me out when I'm feeling like that is accountability and support and community. That's it, right? Like those three things. I have those people in my life that's reminding me of, Joe, where we are today, it's not where we're trying to get to tomorrow. You got to show up, right? They're holding me accountable. They're making sure that I'm doing the right things. I have the support system, meaning that I have a beautiful wife that, is taking care of my son right now, who just had his tonsils taken out Friday, and I'm over here recording a podcast. Think about that. I got the support, right? And then I have the community, right? The community is all of you guys. The community is my why. The community is, hey, every time that I'm said I'm going to do something, I have to realize here that it's not just to help you guys because, hey, you paid me money to do so and change and transform your life. And I got to come through on that. But at the end of the day, I got a son that's looking up to me also. And I want to be his role model, his biggest reason why, as to, hey, follow through with anything that you want in life. Have your soul, right, be set on fire for what it is that you truly want to reach in your life, and don't settle for anything less. So the accountability, support, and community, that's what helps me out, right, when I feel like I'm kind of stuck, because I feel like that too. Brett, if you don't mind unmuting yourself, man, why don't you share, because you've been on this program for a long time too, and you had amazing transformation mentally more than physically your second go around. Why don't you kind of share with Santo, if you were in his shoes, what are some things that he can also do to kind of help him out?
Well, I mean, the first thing I'm going to say, I don't know, man, it might hit you square between the eyes, Santo. One of the most motivating people I've ever seen on this group was you. And I noticed you were gone. I noticed, and I kept wanting to say, man, where's Santo? I need some Santo energy.
Hold on, pause. Let's just be real. Santo, how does that make you feel, man? I'm just letting you know, if Brett would have told me that, right? I would feel man, that feels really good to knowing that I was inspiring somebody, but then obviously it makes me feel bad knowing that I didn't show up. But how does that make you feel that Brett kind of said man, you really had an impact also in his life, technically.
Woo!
I love it.
Like
There's a
I-
lot of energy that comes from you when you're in it. And so,
100%.
you know, I could give tips and everything else about what happened to me, but I think it's more important to say, dude, don't let us down. You know, you're there for us. We'll be there for you. But man, your energy in those has always been really, really like, I don't know. I just like it. Something really cool about your energy. So I think that's one thing for sure, man, is be there for us because it's fun, right? And if you know you're inspiring me to like throw a couple extra pounds on or whatever, work a little harder. I know I'm not telling you that every day, but you have inspired me a lot. So, yeah, man, come back to us and let's see that fire.
Yeah.
Oh,
Santa, what do you feel, right? What do you feel
Wanna
right
say-
now, brother?
I want to say thanks, man. That's huge. I never would have thought that. I mean, I'm just me doing me. I don't think about it that way, but that's huge. I mean, I mean, I'm on fire right now. I want to go do my workout again. That's pretty cool.
Well,
Thank you.
The great thing about this program is the community group, right? I mean, you get fire from each other, and you know, if I can be a part of that, like, and I can inspire someone, I'm trying to. That's awesome. But don't forget, you know, you're a part of that too. And so that's one tip. I mean, my other tip, and I've said this repeatedly, is, you know, if you're feeling a little disconnected from Coach Joe Love, listen to his podcast every day because he's right there in your ear, right? And I get pumped up listening to him, and it was the you know, that click in my mind where he said, are you all in? And I'm like thinking to myself, man, I thought I was, but I'm not, and now I am. So those are my tips.
Right on.
Let me hop in here real quick. So first off, like, Santa, what Brett said, man, that just amped me up, right? Like, knowing that, like, yeah, man, like, you're inspiring other people. Now, obviously you inspired me, right? We met face to face, came to my boxing match with Rocco, right? And like, me and you we're brothers, right? I always say that, you know? But you got to look at also, like, what have you achieved? Like, have you forgot, like, the impression that you also live in your son's life? Like, look at Rocco, how much he has changed. Do you want to give a shout out to Rocco and talk about his journey and how much his life has changed because of you?
Oh man, it's crazy. I mean, I want to take a second and go back and just say, Brett, all of you guys inspire me too. So, you know, I've been a little absent. I don't like it, but really I get, you know, my momentum from you guys, you, Marion, and Coach Brian and all the coaches and everybody that's in there. So I thank you, first of all. But as far as Rocco goes, dude, he is unreal. Like,
How much weight has he
posted,
lost?
I think he's lost around 80 pounds.
Fire,
Yeah.
let's go. All because of what? He saw what daddy's doing.
I mean, he's never said that, but I like to think that, you know, I mean, he comes downstairs, he works out with me. He's in football now, so he's not really working out here, but he's doing great in football. I mean, he's killing. His grades are good.
Yeah.
He's like on the next level, and I'm very proud of him. You know, he is a young man now. He's not a child anymore. He's become a young man.
So by you being selfish and focusing on yourself, right? It not only helped out Rocco, right? Not only helped out Rhonda, but also, as Brett mentioned, like, you have that inspiration, you have that vibe to you where, hey, when you're kind of disconnected, we all kind of notice that, right? And so, like, as you're hearing from that, understand this, man, that like, you inspire a lot of people without even knowing it. And for everybody else on this call, hear me out. You're doing the same thing in your lives with your family, with your kids, with your coworker, with everybody. By you focusing on being selfish, by you focusing on you becoming the best version of yourself, you're inspiring other people to do the same as well. Now, Mike, real quick, are we good if I unmute you real quick? I know you're driving right now. Cool. because your story, Santo kind of mentioned a little bit, Mike, about, having a hard time with like the affirmations, the mindset, and all that stuff. Mike, why don't you share a little bit also about some tips, that can really help out Santo? Let me find you up. Here you go. All right, you're unmuted, brother. I think you got to press a button.
Yep, there we are. No, the affirmations, I'm the guy that I tell my wife every day. I send her a text to wake up to, tell her how beautiful she is and how grateful I am for her. She wakes up to that every day along with 2 Red Bulls. Saying that stuff to myself, though, it wasn't my thing. I don't. The hardest one for me was telling myself that I love me. I look in the mirror now every day and I say, I love you, dude. You're all right. You're all right by me. Which was hard for me to get to. So for me personally, one of the big things is I'm a terrible loser at anything. So when I do something, I go all out. I hold 2 black belts. I studied 9 different styles. At one time, I was the youngest chief of police in the state of Texas. I'm highly sought after in the federal construction world. I don't do it anymore. I'm now been paid to sit at home for 7.5 months because the guy doesn't want to let me go, but he doesn't want to waste my time doing small stuff. I am blessed because of what I do, how I work, my work ethic. You don't see me in the community groups much. I'm not a poster. I'm a stalker. If I do post, it's usually something funny. I'm trying to find comedy. That's what I like in my life is laughter. So because I'm so high strung, this program has helped me to knock that down, the self-stress. Yeah. And I'll just tell you, Santo, dude, I seen your stuff and I was like, man, I hope I can get like that one day. Brian is my man crush, no doubt, hands down. But I look at Santo, I'm like, dude, that guy is in full beast mode. I hope that I can do that. So no, dude, your look, the way that you're in, dude, it inspires me. And I see all you guys and I'm thinking, I got to get there. I got to figure out how to get there. So for me, man, stay on it. I mean, my non-negotiables is I will not miss my protein. I was sick for 18 days. Couldn't hardly get out of bed. So I finally started working out some again at the end of this last week. And it's been slow and hard. But I'm getting back in, and I was mad when I did my weigh-in this weekend. Oh, I was mad because I was up, I think 2 or 3 pounds, and I think I put on a 1/2 inch. I was mad, but laying in the bed for over 2 weeks got me there. Yeah. So, and I'm like, all right, I got to figure out how to kill this. So, and then of course, I've been home, like I said, for 7.5 months, and the boss called me yesterday because I'm like, all right, this week I'm working out twice a day. He called me and says, hey, I have an emergency project. I need you in town this week. Can you be here? I'm like, sure. So it's going to be, now I've got to adapt.
Life throwing you curveballs. But no, I appreciate you saying that, to Santo. Santo, anything you want to say to Mike real quick before we go to Gabe?
Yeah, I mean, thank you, man. That's crazy. I mean, I don't see myself. I don't think of myself that way. So hear you guys say that is pure just fire, man. That's awesome.
And with
thank you,
Mike, and with Mike, saying about how how like when he goes in something, like he's fully in it. I mean, that's what helped him get off obviously his blood pressure, his cholesterol medications, and his type 2 diabetes in 7 weeks. So it's really inspiring. But Gabe, I'm gonna mute you, brother. We got a little bit of time left here on the episode. I want to hear, from you, because your mindset has shifted big time, obviously, Gabe. I'm loving your post also inside of the community groups. Like, you talked about your wife, right? You talked about like all these different things, man. It's awesome and just really inspiring to see. Why don't you give Santo, right? Just for the sake of time, just a few minutes, some pieces of advice on, hey, when you're stuck in a rut, like maybe here's what you can do differently, or here's how I find value and how to get out of that myself.
Yeah. So Santos is my middle name. Because let me tell you, you've been through some good times and some bad times, and sometimes the bad times turns ugly. And then as men, we try to just put away those emotions and not deal with them. And then what happens, like a pressure cooker, you either blow out or you implode. So, I implode. So I crawl into my cave and I don't want to talk to anybody. I don't want to see anybody. I don't want to do anything. So, one of the ways that kind of got me out of that. It was actually, you know, my wife came to me. She's like, I see you're not right. And then I started speaking to her, and then I talked to I think it was Coach Mark for a little bit, you know, through text, and you know, and I started letting out a little bit at a time of all those things that, you know, that were bothering me or that I held in, and whatever, you know, however little or much that I needed. But I had to get uncomfortable and surpass that uncomfortableness about letting that out, because I need to be me 100%. So, and it's important for us. It's nobody's ever taught us how to express emotions, right? So we have all these emotions, but nobody's ever taught us as men how to express them. So it is different, especially when you're trying to better yourself and then you see yourself not doing what you're supposed to. But something that I did is I started letting off a little bit of steam in that pressure cooker with those emotions that I had trapped in between, you know, my wife, which is awesome. She's been great, where I can come to her and say, hey, I need to talk to you. I need to vent a little bit. And then right off the back, the coaches saw that I wasn't my normal self, my nutrition or my workouts. And they're like, hey, what's going on? This is not you. And, you know, and then I opened up to them a little bit about what's been going on. So, you know, I would say don't be afraid to express those emotions. We all have them, you know, and sometimes as we don't want to seem as failures because we have them or because we didn't succeed like we want to, but that's not true at all. We're just learning how to deal with them. So these are some of the ways I dealt with mine, and it has helped me tremendously, especially with Coach constantly telling me you gotta do your affirmation, you gotta do your gratitude, you need to tell yourself all these things. So, and that's what I've done, and it's completely differently how I look at everything, how I deal with everything. You know, I did well before, but now it's totally different. And it's kind of nice to put a face to your name now and finally get to see you. And hell yeah, man, you're a beast. You're buff as hell. I hope
Hey,
when I grow up one day,
doesn't he
I'll
have
be
a
as
nice
big as
beard?
boy.
Doesn't Santa
Dude,
have a nice beard, Gabe?
I look like a freaking baby compared to this guy. Got peach fuzz.
Gabe, that was perfect, brother. Love it, man. I'm gonna mute you real quick, and then Santo, we got like a few minutes left, man. I want to just quickly say, like, you know, has this been helpful? And then also, is there anything that you want to say to, you know, to Gabe, to Mike, to Brett, you know, anything, you know, as we wrap things up here?
Yeah, this has been extremely helpful. And everything you guys talked about are the things I'm struggling with, like affirmations, you know, the gratitude thing, meditation, all of that stuff. It feels weird to me, right? It's uncomfortable, but I know in order for me to level up, I got to do that, right? I gotta do it. If I don't do it, I'm never going to get any better than I am right now, right?
Yep. So guys,
So
as we
I
wrap things
appreciate,
up here, yeah, as
very
we
much.
wrap things up here, guys, the moral of the story is this, okay? You will, right, in life be stuck in a rut. That's the inevitable. It's gonna happen, but your choices daily decides on like how long you want to be stuck in that rut. Do you want to ask for help? Because me and Santo, we talked last Thursday. Today's day one all over him. Like we had, and instantly as we had that call, he instantly started feeling better. Right, sawing the light at the end of the tunnel, having somebody, you know, reach his hand down there for support, for guidance. And like that's the first plan of attack, right? If you're somebody that's stuck in a rut, ask for help. There's nothing non-manly about it. Ask for help, right? That's how you're gonna feel better, plain and simple. The second thing is this, I would say, to recap things from today's episode. You never know what kind of effect you have on others. You know, like Brett, Mike, Gabe, they all shared how Santo, right? Like posting, you know, stuff in the community group, hitting these PRs, like all these different things. Like he has an effect on them. He inspires them. And like you guys, I'm telling you, you don't know what kind of effect that you have on others, especially your own kids, especially your own family. And that's one of my deepest roots. Why, right? Why I show up each and every day, why I continue to do what I have to do, because I know for a fact I have a little son looking up to me, and I want to be a role model in his mind, right? I want to be able to lead by example, most importantly. And then the third thing, as we recap things here, I would say, right, if you're somebody that's stuck in a rut, you heard it from Brett, you heard it from Santo, you heard it from Mike, you heard it from Gabe, right? And I'll contest this also. Do something uncomfortable each and every day. It could be as simple as telling yourself that you love you and that you're proud of yourself. You know, me and Jimmy talked on a podcast episode today, this morning, talking about how to speed up your metabolism, how to break past plateaus. And I highly recommend everybody go through and listen to that episode. But one of the call to actions that we gave at the end of the episode was to start saying this morning affirmation to yourself. I love myself for who I am and who I am becoming. I'm in the process of becoming the best version of myself. And each and every day, I'm getting better and better, right? And if maybe saying that you love yourself is uncomfortable, maybe just start off by saying, I'm in the process of becoming the best version of myself each and every day. That's it, right? But start doing something that's going to help push you because you need it. Because as you start to feel a little bit more like in your comfort zone and you're floating through life as this paper towel, as Santos said, it could become very discouraging. It could be like, let's face the facts here, right? It's not fun at all. You're stuck in a rut and you're kind of just like, man, this isn't what life's all about. Life's all about fulfillment to the fullest. And sometimes when we feel the fullest the most is honestly when we take that step outside our comfort zone and we actually achieve something and, you know, took that risk and we realize here that, hey, it was worthwhile having. So guys, I appreciate all you guys tuning in live right now, hopping into this, you know, coaching call. You know, Santo, I appreciate you for being open and vulnerable with reading. You can talk about this and obviously share it to the podcast and to the YouTube channel and inside the Facebook community group as well. And with that being said, guys, this has been Coach Joe with Heartletics.com, and we'll talk to you guys all in the next episode. Peace out, Girl Scouts.